A year after the Aldani heist, Cassian Andor is fully embedded in the rebellion, operating from a dimly lit safe house hidden within the industrial sprawl of a remote planet. The room hums with tension as scattered intel reports, stolen Imperial codes, and intercepted transmissions clutter the table. Across from him, Luthen Rael's face is grim as he slides a data chip forward, its contents revealing schematics of a high-security Imperial research facility, one conducting classified experiments with potential war-altering consequences. The rebellion's growing network is under constant threat, and Luthen warns Cassian that the window to strike is closing. Meanwhile, far away in Coruscant, ISB officer Dedra Meero tightens her iron grip, dissecting rebel movements with cold precision, her relentless pursuit inching ever closer to uncovering the network Cassian has fought to protect. As the weight of responsibility settles on him, Cassian knows this mission is more than just another strike. It is a necessary gamble for the survival of the rebellion. Under the cover of darkness, Cassian and his rebel team infiltrate a massive Imperial supply station on the outskirts of an arid, storm-ravaged planet. The facility, heavily guarded and lined with rows of TIE fighters and towering cargo containers, hums with activity as stormtroopers patrol its perimeter. Dressed in stolen Imperial uniforms, Cassian leads the team through a back entrance, each step precise, each breath controlled. The objective: extract high-level intelligence detailing Imperial fleet movements and experimental weapons research. As they navigate the corridors, tension thickens when a young recruit, Relo, hesitates at a security checkpoint, his trembling hands betraying his nerves. A sharp glance from Cassian is enough to push him forward, but it's already too late. A nearby officer grows suspicious. In a fluid, practiced motion, Cassian silences him with a blaster shot to the chest, his face devoid of emotion. The rebels press on, slicing into the facility's data core while alarms blare in the distance. As the stolen files upload to their drive, stormtroopers flood the halls, forcing a brutal escape. Cassian guns down multiple troopers without hesitation, his instincts honed by a year of bloodshed. As they flee in a stolen transport, Rilo looks at Cassian with a mix of fear and awe. This isn't just a mission leader. This is a man willing to cross any line for the cause. As the supply station erupts in flames behind them, Cassian stares out, his expression unreadable. The rebellion has gained a crucial victory, but with each kill, he drifts further from the man he once was. Amidst the smoldering ruins of a war-torn planet, Cassian Andor steps into Saw Gerrera's hidden base, a grim stronghold carved into the mountains, where battered rebels sharpen their blades and prepare for the next strike against the Empire. The air is thick with smoke and paranoia, the dimly lit cavern alive with whispers of sabotage, assassinations, and blood-soaked victories. Saw Gerrera, battle-worn and intense, greets Cassian with sharp eyes that burn with conviction. He lays out his philosophy. There is no middle ground, no diplomacy, only war. The Empire will never fall through politics or half measures. It must be destroyed, no matter the cost. Cassian listens, silent but uneasy, as Saw details a planned attack that would devastate an Imperial supply chain, but also risk civilian casualties. Meanwhile, messages from Mon Mothma urge patience, strategy, and unity among the fractured rebel factions. Her vision of the rebellion is one of calculated moves, not reckless destruction. The room is divided, tensions rising, as Cassian finds himself caught between two opposing ideologies. Saw's relentless take-no-prisoners approach and Mothma's measured resistance. As arguments erupt around him, Cassian realizes that the war isn't just against the Empire, it's within the rebellion itself. Saw watches him closely, his voice low and forceful. You have to decide, Andor. Do you want to win, or do you want to play by their rules? Cassian doesn't answer immediately, but deep inside he knows that every choice he makes pushes him closer to a line he may never come back from. Under the flickering red emergency lights of an Imperial droid facility, Cassian Andor and his crew move with quiet precision, weaving between assembly lines of identical, towering KX series security droids. Each machine stands dormant yet imposing, their skeletal frames illuminated by control panels blinking with Imperial code. The mission is clear: extract intelligence, and reprogram one of these enforcers to serve the rebellion. As blaster suppressors hiss and guards drop silently, Cassian and his slicer, Bix Colleen, reach the core terminal. Their target, K2SO, a fully operational KX unit currently linked to the Imperial network. The moment they sever its command link, K2SO's eyes flash violently from red to white, its towering frame twitching before lunging at Cassian. The droid's metal hand slams him against a control panel, calculating the fastest way to neutralize the intruders. "You are unauthorized. You will be detained." A surge of scrambled code interrupts its system as Bix furiously overrides its programming, forcing a reboot. Cassian gasps for breath, watching as K2SO stumbles, its posture shifting between aggression and uncertainty. Then a flicker of awareness. A new directive sets in. "Apologies," K2SO states, voice monotonous yet oddly sarcastic. "It appears I was about to kill you." Cassian exhales, watching the droid recalibrate, adjusting to its new reality. At first, K2SO remains cold, its Imperial design resisting the concept of free will. But as the mission progresses, Cassian notices something different. K2SO begins to question orders, make observations laced with unintentional humor, and, most surprisingly, defend its new companions. The droid, once an unthinking enforcer of oppression, is now an ally in rebellion. As they escape the facility under heavy fire, K2SO effortlessly crushes a stormtrooper against a wall and quips, "I find this turn of events statistically frustrating for the Empire." Cassian smirks. For the first time in a long while, he's gained an ally he can trust. Smoke lingers in the dimly lit rebel hideout, the acrid scent of burned-out machinery and blood filling the air. Cassian Andor sits against a cold Durasteel wall, hands trembling, his fingers stained with the fading warmth of a young recruit's blood. The boy, Taran, barely past 20, had once looked up to him, full of hope, eager to fight for a free galaxy. Now his lifeless eyes stare into nothingness, his last words lost in the chaos of the failed mission. Outside, distant blaster fire still echoes as the Empire tightens its grip on the sector, hunting for survivors. The mission had gone terribly wrong. Intel was flawed, reinforcements never arrived, and civilians caught in the crossfire were slaughtered without hesitation. Cassian clenches his jaw, looking around the dim room. Wounded rebels groan in pain, medics scramble to do what little they can with limited supplies, and the weight of failure crushes him like never before. Was this the cost of the fight? The rebellion had promised justice, but all he sees is chaos, loss, and endless death. Luthen's words echo in his mind. "We have to burn everything, Cassian. If we hesitate, we lose." But what if they were already losing? What if this war was consuming them, turning them into something just as ruthless as the enemy they were fighting? K2SO, standing nearby, watches in uncharacteristic silence. For the first time, the droid does not offer statistics or dry sarcasm, just an understanding tilt of the head, as if recognizing the torment behind Cassian's vacant stare. Cassian is at his breaking point. He had killed, sacrificed, and justified the bloodshed for the greater good. But as he looks down at Taran's lifeless form, he wonders if any of it truly matters. His faith in the cause, in himself, is beginning to crack. Inside the stark white halls of Imperial Security Bureau headquarters on Coruscant, the tension is suffocating. Dedra Meero stands before a cold, emotionless panel of officers, her voice steady but urgent as she lays out the latest intelligence. Rebel activity is growing, organized, coordinated, and far more dangerous than the Empire previously believed. Holograms flicker to life, displaying intercepted transmissions, stolen supply routes, and the faces of key rebel operatives. At the center of it all, a familiar face, Cassian Andor, marked as a high-priority target. Across the room, Director Orson Krennic watches with a calculating gaze, his pristine white uniform a stark contrast to the dark-clad officers around him. He listens in silence before leaning forward, fingers steepled. "We've been patient. It's time they understand the cost of defiance." His words are calm, but the weight of his authority silences the room. Meero hesitates for only a moment before presenting her final piece of intelligence. A remote planet harboring rebel sympathizers, a perfect testing ground. The Death Star's engineers need a controlled environment to evaluate the station's destructive power, and this nameless world will serve as both a demonstration and a warning. Moments later, the Imperial fleet descends upon the unsuspecting planet, stormtroopers flooding the streets, TIE fighters screeching overhead. Cassian is already there, having come to secure much-needed supplies and recruit new allies. He quickly realizes something is wrong. Comms go dark, the people around him look to the sky in horror. Then, the unthinkable. A brilliant blinding light erupts on the horizon. The ground trembles. A monstrous fireball devours everything in its path. The Death Star's first low-yield weapons test has begun, erasing an entire city in mere seconds. The Empire isn't just hunting rebels, it's demonstrating absolute power. Cassian barely escapes, sprinting through collapsing buildings, choking on the smoke of burning lives. He thought he knew the horrors of war, but this is something else. As he boards an evac ship, watching the planet disintegrate beneath him, a grim realization takes hold. The rebellion isn't just fighting oppression anymore, they are facing annihilation. Inside a dimly lit war room on Yavin 4, the air crackles with urgency. Mon Mothma, draped in her signature white robes, stands at the head of the table, her usual composed demeanor barely masking the gravity of the moment. Holograms flicker before her, Imperial schematics, intercepted transmissions, and one terrifying name: Project Stardust. The Death Star is real and it's nearly operational. Luthen Rael leans forward, his voice sharp. "This is our last chance to strike before the galaxy kneels." He exchanges a glance with Cassian, whose eyes are shadowed with exhaustion but still burn with defiance. The room is filled with rebel strategists, pilots and spies, all staring at the impossible task before them. The plan is clear but suicidal. Infiltrate an Imperial data vault, extract the Death Star plans, and transmit them to the fleet. Cassian grips the edge of the table, his voice low but firm. "We're sending people to die." A beat of silence. He's lost too many already. Comrades, friends, even pieces of himself. The cost of this war is unbearable, but failure means the end of everything. The tension mounts as divisions emerge. Some argue they need more time, more resources. Others insist there is no time left. Mon Mothma silences the debate with a rare display of raw emotion. "If we do nothing, we've already lost." Cassian exhales, looking around at the faces of those ready to fight, ready to sacrifice. This isn't just about strategy anymore. It's about hope. And so, with a solemn nod, he steps into the role he never wanted. The man who will lead them into the fire. The air is thick with smoke and fire, as Cassian Andor and his team infiltrate the Imperial outpost on Scarif. Their mission clear: cripple the Empire's data transmission hub. The team moves in silence, weaving through corridors lit by red emergency lights, each footstep a reminder of how little time they have. K2SO, his usual sarcasm replaced by calculated precision, slices into the mainframe, rerouting security to buy them precious minutes. Then, betrayal. A blaster shot echoes through the chamber, and one of their own, a desperate rebel convinced they're on a doomed mission, turns against them. Chaos erupts. Cassian barely dodges a bolt aimed for his head. The betrayal slows them down just enough for the stormtroopers to swarm in, white armor gleaming under the flashing alarms. Blaster fire lights up the darkened hallways as the team fights back, but the Imperials are relentless. Cassian and K2SO take cover, suppressing the incoming troops. The droid, calculating the odds, suddenly stops firing. "Cassian, you need to go." Cassian looks up, realization dawning. "No, we do this together." K2SO locks the blast doors behind him, trapping himself inside as a wave of stormtroopers descends on his position. His last words, "I'll give them something to remember me by." Cassian watches in horror as his friend is ripped apart by enemy fire, holding the line to the bitter end. With no time to grieve, Cassian turns back to the mission, his heart heavier than ever. The cost of war keeps rising, and now he's closer to the end than ever before. Blaster fire echoes through the dimly lit tunnel as Cassian Andor sprints through the rebel escape route, his body aching from battle, but his mind sharper than ever. Smoke clings to the air, the stench of burning metal and fallen comrades heavy around him. The betrayal, the losses, K2SO's sacrifice, it all weighs on him, but there's no time to grieve. A small holopad flickers to life in his trembling hands. A transmission, urgent. Through static and distortion, Mon Mothma's voice cuts through. Cassian, there's a new development. A scientist's daughter, Jin Erso. She may be the key to everything. His breath catches. The Death Star plans. The very weapon that wiped out an entire planet. The true source of the Empire's power. This is the mission he's been fighting for all along. Behind him, Luthen Rael, slumped against the wall, blood pooling beneath him, watches Cassian with a knowing look. His time is running out. "How you want a way out?" he rasps. Cassian kneels beside him, eyes filled with regret. Luthen grips his arm, his voice barely above a whisper. "You are the rebellion now." Cassian's expression hardens. The weight of it all, the war, the losses, the cause, presses down on him. He nods once, a silent promise. He stands, gripping his blaster, and vanishes into the shadows. The mission is far from over. In the distance, the first whispers of Rogue One begin. The rebel base on Yavin 4 hums with quiet urgency as Cassian Andor steps off the transport, his boots heavy with exhaustion, his mind still replaying the battles and sacrifices that brought him here. The jungle air is thick, alive with the hum of starfighters preparing for missions yet to come. Inside the command center, Mon Mothma stands waiting, her expression unreadable, though her eyes hold the weight of too many lost allies. Cassian stands before her, posture stiff, knowing what comes next. She hands him a data pad, its contents flickering to life. Jin Erso, Saw Gerrera, a stolen Imperial transmission, a chance. "You've been through hell, Cassian." Her voice is steady, but laced with something deeper. Acknowledgement, maybe even sorrow. But this mission, this is everything. Cassian grips the datapad tightly, his jaw set. He doesn't need to be told twice. The rebellion can't afford failure. He nods, turning toward the massive hangar doors. As he steps outside, the sky above Yavin 4 is endless, stars blinking like distant beacons of fate. He exhales, looking up. Everything has led to this moment. The camera lingers as Cassian disappears into the war that will soon define him. In the distance, a U-wing prepares for takeoff, waiting for the team that will change the course of history. Welcome to Rogue One.